So just looking ahead to the second test match between the Springboks and Ireland after that 27-20 win from the Boks last weekend up at Loftus. That was a really, really good test match. I think both sides played really good rugby. Most of the momentum was with the Springboks for the majority of the game, and then, they kind of took their eye off the ball a little bit and conceded 2 late tries, which made the scoreline look a lot more flattering to Ireland. But that aside, both teams have announced their squads, so we can get a better look at what both of the teams are going to be fielding. So first and foremost, Springboks is absolutely unchanged match day 23, which will be running on exactly the same as they were last weekend. That old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So it makes sense with what Rusty Rasmus and the coaching staff are doing. One thing to know is pretty interesting that, not that it's expected, but usually after test matches like we saw last week, there tends to be some niggles and injuries. And for the whole 23 that played last week, there's not one that we know of, a niggle or an injury or anything holding the players back, which is maybe a testament to the conditioning of the Springboks, and also just a thought that maybe the new game plan, more expansive, more passing, less contact, which definitely was the case, it's actually boded well for the conditioning of the players and keeping them injury-free and not taking as many bumps and bruises as they usually do. So just an interesting angle to look at with regards to the injuries. Now, sadly, the Irish obviously took a bit of a battering last week, and there were a few unfortunate knocks and injuries. Dan Sheehan, who was actually having a great game and a great season, has unfortunately done his ACL, so he's out of the game completely, along with Craig Casey, who I actually thought was one of the better players from the Irish side last Saturday. His little rivalry with Faf de Klerk was great, but he obviously picked up a concussion after that hit from Arceus Neyman, knocked his head on the grass. And he's failed his HIA, so it's unfortunate for them. I thought he was really playing well, but on the positive side for Ireland, they have a really handy replacement in the form of Conor Murray, British and Irish Lions player. The fact that he's third choice scrum half after Jamison Gibson Park and Craig Casey is pretty crazy. But he looked good when he came on against the Boks, and I'm sure he's going to bring a lot of calm and structure to work well with Jack Crowley at fly half. So I don't think it's going to change up the Irish plan that much. And if anything, I think Conor Murray will bring a little bit of structure to the box kicks and a little bit of game management to how they manage the pace and the rhythm of their game. So in terms of scrum half replacement, it's looking pretty positive for them. And obviously to replace Sheehan, we see Ronan Kelleher come in. He looked really good when he came off the bench last week. So getting a starting spot now, it's almost a like for like in terms of their style. Kelleher is also a bit of a running hooker. He's got a bit of skill also. He contributed to that try that took place late in the second half. Other changes, James Ryan comes into lock while Ty Byrne now moves to the flank, which is an interesting combination because it kind of forces the Irish squad to have to put one of their key loose forwards on the bench. And interestingly, Peter O'Mahony is going onto the bench, who captained the side last week. So Caelan Doris now takes over as captain, but they've got a really nice loose trio with Ty Byrne, Josh van der Fleer, and Caelan Doris at 8. So I think they're looking to front up physically to the box. I think you're going to see a lot more mobile and aggressive loose forward pack. And then later in the game, you can bring on the experience of someone like Peter O'Mahony. It's looking pretty positive for the Irish in terms of the way they've managed these injuries. And there's a little bit of tinkering in the back line for the Irish, which I think is probably the most monumental change for the team this week, seeing Bundy Aki not even make the match day 23. It's not really certain why Aki's not playing, but he was really good last week and gave the Bok backline and forwards a lot to deal with. Rob Henshaw moves to 12. He seems to have passed his HIA, and there seems to have been no concern with that. And Gary Ringrose is someone who comes into 13. I think Ringrose is up there as one of the best outside centers in the world, even though his name doesn't really fall into those discussions very often. I think he's incredible. He's got insane footwork, speed, ball skills, and is a solid defender too. His matchup with Jesse Creel is, I would say, the most exciting outside center rivalry at the moment that we could see. I think 2 of the best 13s in the world. So I'm really happy that Ringrose is actually in the mix because it makes quite a tantalizing competition between the 2 of them. And in terms of the conditions, Kings Park is looking pretty clean for Saturday. There's no rain. There's minimal wind, the sun is out, so I think Durban's going to be a really great location for this test match. It's a good opportunity for both sides to showcase whatever game plan they want, whether it's to play tight or play loose and throw the ball around. I really want this to be a tight encounter. I don't think anyone wants to see one-sided matches, and it's unfortunate that some of the Irish boys won't be playing, because you do want to see the best players going against each other in the world. With that said, they've got such an incredible bench and such good depth that I think you're still going to see the best of the world going against each other. I don't think that the Irish will have enough to stop the Boks momentum at the moment, though. I think this will be a tighter game. I think it'll be closer because the Irish have everything to play for now, and they're going to come out firing. They're hurt, they're wounded. They're going to try and surprise the Boks and beat them at their own game. But I just think that Springbok pack is looking athletic, strong, fit, and the backline showcased what they could do last week. We saw a lot more passes than usual. I think if they just string a few more players together, I think they're going to be putting quite a few tries into the post. So I'm going to say Boks by 5, but let's see what transpires.